Hello and welcome back. It took pretty much a week to get the spare parts that I need for the Niva, and I hope to be able to put everything back together today and hopefully make it work, because I need that car. What I had to wait on was this thingy right here. I couldn't get that in my local Lada supplier, Lada World from Denmark, unfortunately. So I had to order this from Estonia, I think it was. So it took a bit longer. I also ordered a oil seal for this, but as it turns out, it already got one fitted, so I couldn't see it on the picture. But this one needs to go into the old bell housing, and then I'm gonna fit the paper gasket onto the 5-speed gearbox. That's the only thing that I can really think of might have caused this issue that I'm having. It could also just be normal wear, but it seems a bit weird. But the tolerances is of course tighter without that paper gasket, even though the paper is really thin. It is doing something, so maybe that will sort the issue. Maybe it comes back. We'll just have to see. Remember, I haven't opened up the gearbox, so I don't really know if something more is wrong in there, but everything seems just fine, so I don't think so. Also, the car drove fine in 4th gear. So what I'm going to do today is to fit the bell housing back with the new part, the new thrust washer, fit a new clutch, not complete clutch, and I know some might disagree, but that's the way I'm doing it. I am only going to change the clutch friction plate. I have, although, ordered a new release bearing, because the old one, I think I could clean it up and grease it. And actually, I did it a little bit last time and sprayed some grease in there, and I could have used this just as well. But I have bought another one. I'm going to change that one. Why don't I change everything? Because I don't want to spend more money than I need to. And also, I don't like changing stuff that are working just fine. This is the old bell housing. This is the new one. I have decided to go ahead and use the new one because behind this old piece, you can actually see that worn groove in the edges going down all the way out there is present. On the other one, there's just a small groove, but it's not at all the same way. It's just a little bit of a groove that looks machined out. I'm not gonna chance it and use this. I'm gonna use the new one, not the new one, but the other one, because it doesn't have that groove. This groove, this one will of course be put on top and remove that groove in theory, but it will make it less supported. So I think it will bend down and start to wear out. So I'm gonna use the new one, and I'm actually just gonna bin the old one because that's no good. We're gonna go with the new one. But I'm going to reuse that O-ring because I don't have a new one of those. Don't know if it's necessary, but I'm just going to smear it with a bit of oil to get everything lubed, especially the inside of the O-ring or the oil control or the oil ring in here. That needs to be lubed to avoid it getting torn when we put the shaft through it, like that. I really don't want any leaks on this, so I'm gonna smear the surface a little bit with some liquid sealant, not a lot, not at all as much as before, just to help the paper gasket a little bit. And yes, I know this is not a new gasket, but it is good enough. And then I'm gonna fit the new ring to the clutch casing, make sure that it doesn't drop in. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and fit a new clutch release bearing and the clutch fork from the old bell housing, and go ahead and fit everything back to the car, and then bring you back when I know if it works. I am in a bit of a hurry, so it won't be a very detailed video this, but the important bit is that I think I have found the problem. I think I have fixed it. So next thing is to test it out. So see you in a bit. So the gearbox is back in. It is not an easy task on this car. Not the car actually, but on my lift, because on the floor we have these bars between the lift. That means it's difficult to use a gearbox hoist or a hydraulic lifter, which I don't have either. But using this table and a lot of brute force, I got it in, and it's not that bad, but it could be better. It's better than lying with a normal with a normal jack on the floor. So yeah, I need to fill the gearbox with oil. I'm gonna do that from the top. But before that, I would like to fit the transfer case, which I need to align a little bit. But before that, I'm actually going to change these rubbers, because they are pretty cracked. I think they're not that bad actually. I think they look worse than they actually are, but I'm gonna change it anyway because I bought another one. Full of crap. There we go. Oh no. It snapped. God damn it. Ah, that was really annoying. So a couple of more days went by. This job has ended up taking quite some time now. Not really in terms of working on the car, but waiting on parts, because one of the big issues when having a rare car is that you cannot just go to the shop and buy whatever you need. So I bought what I thought I needed for this project, the gearbox project. It turned out that I needed this part, so I had to order that and a clutch plate. A couple of days went by for that to get here in the mail, and then I started to assemble everything. Then I noticed I had an issue with the rubbers on the transfer case being pretty torn. I don't know how well it picks up, but it's quite broken. It could have been reused, but I would like to change it. I got some vibrations that I would try to remedy. I don't think I will get them all, but just at least try. I changed it on one side, and then I went to the other side, and yeah. So I had to order a new one. I think it's about 25 euros, this one, or something like that. It's not very expensive, but I had to wait on it. So now it arrived. It's Saturday, and I'm gonna go ahead and fit the rest of the stuff to the car and then take you back when it's done, or if I find something else to worry about. Well, actually, I did find something else to worry about when taking it apart, and I already ordered the spare part for that, so I have that. But this is not the best joint anymore. So we're going to change that as well. And there we go. Now it's going loose. That's supposed to be a bearing. Wow! Now it's ready to install a new universal joint. Unfortunately, I'm really unlucky in this project, or maybe just uncareful. But this is the new universal joint. This is not going to work. According to my knowledge, the old Niva should have the small universal joint size, but it doesn't have that. It got the big one. I need to order a big one now and wait. And I'm really bummed about that, because I want to work on something else at the moment, and waiting on part and having something on the lift is making me quite annoyed. So what I have chosen to do is I'm gonna put everything back together without the front drive shaft. This means that I will be able to drive the car. It's not a long-term solution at all, but it's good enough to get the car out of the garage so I can work on something else while I wait on that last part. To drive it, I will have to engage the diff lock between the two axles. I don't really think that matters that much, but I don't really want to drive it too much with that. So I'm just going to drive this car out of the garage and park it outside so I can do some work on some other stuff while I wait on that part. It will take a couple of days at least. So everything is back in the car. The gearbox is attached to the engine and the transfer case is on and the drive shaft to the rear. Only thing missing is the front drive shaft. I can't fit it right now. I will do that in the next one. The last thing I'm going to do today is to add around between 1.8 and 2 liters of gearbox oil to the gearbox. That is more than you actually are supposed to, but the fifth gear needs more lubrication. So people advise to give almost half a liter more oil than normal. Not more than 2 liters though, because that could end up giving some issues with the seals. So now let's see if it wants to start and drive out of here. It's been quite a while since it was started last. The clutch is weird. Let's try again. For some reason I had gotten some air into the clutch system. There might be an issue there, but it should work now. It's completely the same as before. It jumps out of fourth. All the other gears works just fine, but it's still jumping out of fourth gear. So I'm not going to say all of this was for nothing, because we did find some issues that I have now fixed that it will make the vibrations less noticeable, but the main issue is still there. Right now I don't really care about it. I need to fix it so it's 4x4 once again, and then I'm gonna regroup in my brain and figure out what to do next. As you know, I have a 4-speed gearbox lying around. I could fit that, and then it's just a 4-speed. Originally it was a 4-speed, so it's alright. The stupid thing about that is that I have no idea if that 4-speed is actually working. It could be worn out, and the reason why they changed the gearbox in the first place. And it could also just be because they need that 5th gear. And I like the 5th gear as well, because I'm driving at speeds over 80 kilometers per hour quite often. And the noise is of course a lot lower when I do that with the 5th gear. So I need to think about this, because it could be the synchro rings. Well, the best thing, I think, and it just occurred to me right now, the camera just shut off because it's depleted from battery, so now it's hooked up to a wire, and you might notice it's a different battery and different sound than before, because my other camera is also depleted, because I have been in the garage for many hours and the batteries in my camera are getting pretty old. But what I was trying to say is, I think the best thing to do is to recharge on the Niva, just drive it around for a bit when I get that drive shaft fitted, and then take off the gearbox once again, fit the 4-speed, and cross my fingers that it actually works. And while driving around in the 4-speed, then maybe rebuild the 5-speed and put that back on. That could be a solution. But right now I don't want to work anymore on the Niva for a couple of days. I want to work on something else. So yeah, you can't win every time, and it's not really about that. But I did learn a lot of stuff, and that's pretty much the most important bit for me. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.